Welcome to Degenerate Boomer. Still in Sherry's apartment. Here we are recording live in New York City. And
what's up? I'm Sherry Soprani. Welcome to Degenerate Boomer podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, okay? And my socials are Sherry_Soprani. Baby as well, Sherry Baby as well. I'm gonna hit that up and give me some love, some validation, make me feel special. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mommy didn't love her enough.
Because I was raised by a boomer, so I had to get hugs a lot. So,
yeah. All right. And today our guest is Sarah. Shout it all out for me.
Woo. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. My name is Sarah Adelman. I'm on Instagram. I'm at Sarah Adelman 1, Adelman 1. And Sarah_Adelman on TikTok. I'm a comic in New York, and I'm psyched to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm excited for you. You're funny as hell.
Yeah.
Thank you,
At
Sherry.
Greenwich Comedy Club, I was listening to you back in the green room, and I was like, man, she's really funny.
Thank you. I appreciate
let me hit
it.
her up. You know?
Yeah. And we did a women's comedy festival together over the summer, and I seen her, and it's funny because I say I have no face name recognition, and I don't, and I hate that. People think I'm like, oh, she didn't remember me, but it's not. It's that it's just something that I've struggled with my whole life.
Maybe you have face blindness.
Yeah, well, I think I do, and I'm also extremely dyslexic. It's a mess. But
You seem like something's wrong with you.
very wrong, very, very wrong. But the minute I knew your jokes, like the minute
You DM me. You're like, oh, I know who you are.
Now I know who you are. So I, totally knew who you were from your material. Yes, and I told Sherry, listen, this chick is smart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard her material and I was like, she's really intellectually genius.
Yep.
But she makes it so fucking funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that is hard to do. And let's get her on the
Right. So yeah,
Thank you,
I did. I really loved that. And so of course my subject had to be like education throughout the years, is what we're going to get into. But I like to open and start with talking about you and your comedy.
Sure.
And so how long have you been doing comedy?
I'm pretty green. I'm a year and a half in.
Year and a half in. Okay. Another question I love to ask is, what have you found challenging about hitting the different age groups and the different generations, which we were in that women's music, I don't know, comedy. And it was a lot of older women. She was
right,
and I love that there was a lot of old broads like me in
a diverse age.
Right. But then there was they sprinkled in a few of these youngsters, And do you find it a struggle for your comedy to hit my age group?
I will typically watch the crowd as they come in and sort of decide then. I feel like the Brooklyn scene is very different from the Manhattan scene. The Brooklyn's a lot younger.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of jokes where I make references to I have this joke that kills with young crowds that mentions a song that played a lot of my bat mitzvah that came out in 2009. Or Club Penguin, which was a video game when I was growing up. That's not something that I think I could necessarily do at Broadway Comedy Club or a place with an older crowd. Mm-hmm. I want to be able to kill in any room, and I want to be able to pivot on my feet when I'm up there if something's not working.
Right.
So that's what I'm looking forward to in my comedy career, is having a bank enough of material that I can pull it out of my toolbox and be like, oh, this isn't working. Let me do that.
Right.
Sometimes when the niche stuff hits, it hits harder than the universal stuff. Do you know what I mean? I did a show for a bunch of other women in their 20s this week, and they just ate up my reference material. It was a great show. But I've done shows where the median age is 60, and a lot of people, my stuff's kind of blue, it's kind of dirty because I work at Sperm Bank, and a lot of it's about that, and I talk a lot about sex and whatever. And I find that I sort of am envisioned as this daughter. I think a lot of people, I look very young. I'm 26, but I look, like I'm 18 or 19. And people sort of see me as their daughter because I, have a real job and whatever. I'm sort of whatever, but then I'm saying this dirty stuff. Sometimes I feel like I can lose an older crowd. So I'd love to have a way to own it. Yes, I'm this daughterly, goody two shoes figure, but allow me to say the dirty stuff. I think the older people get a little, ooh.
They do when I talk about sex and lesbian sex on stage with the older crowd, they're kind of just like a fucking pin drop sometimes. You know what I mean?
Right. I used to have this line about how I'm drowning in cum at the
That's
sperm
awesome.
bank,
That's
but I have to cut it if I'm in a room with if anybody's over 40.
Yeah, I get
that. Have you ever taken any comedy classes?
No.
Me neither.
Okay, so this is what's helped me greatly is there's something I'm interested in, I will go all in and do every class I can about that particular subject. Unfortunately, it wasn't medicine. But, if I was interested in medicine, I probably would have been a great doctor.
You could be the Surgeon General by now.
I was, I just was too stupid. But comedy, I've taken a lot.
Some of the stupidest people I know are doctors.
Yeah, well, I've
definitely not street smart, maybe. But.
Right, I'm street smart. I'm definitely street smart. But so for me, I just wanted to learn as much as I could about everything, just like about punching, tagging, like you said, getting a bank of material, learning how to pivot when the dirty stuff isn't working, learning how to hit every age group. Like that was all like the history of comedy.
Right.
That was everything that I really wanted to learn about. And you already get it, which is amazing. You've only been doing it a year and a half and you haven't taken any classes. And everything you just said is like dead on.
Thank you.
Other people don't. You know what I mean?
Like they're too dumb. They can't figure it out.
I asked a lot of questions.
She's smart.
But right. So and again, she probably is one of those people that wants to get as much knowledge as she can.
And I ask a lot of comics who are way above me all the time to get coffee, to get a beer, whatever.
This is exactly.
And I ask them questions. Not in I try to not be annoying. Sorry if I've been annoying to you, but I try to not do it in an annoying way. Also, someone recently gave me a good piece of advice where they were like, "You're a very personal comedian." I don't do any observational comedy like a Seinfeld.
Yeah,
like I don't talk about anything. I'm also scared of plagiarizing. Like I just want to talk about stuff that's happened to me, and that's what I find funny because I'm a narcissist, like you, Sherry.
Right, exactly.
And nice. And I feel like a comic above me recently was like, find out what people think about you so that when you get on stage, you kind of knock that down. So even stuff like that, where I feel like I wouldn't even necessarily learn that in a class. But just sitting and chatting with people whose careers I admire. Also studying. I did this a lot in science when I started my career, and now I do it in comedy, where I'll take someone who has a dream job or a dream career arc, and I'll see where they started. I'll be like, oh, they wrote a show and they took it to Fringe, or they started a podcast, or they did this and that. But I also don't want to just replicate something else. In science, there's like a replicability crisis or null findings where nobody's going to get the Nobel Peace Prize or Science Award for replicating a study that was already done, even though that's in the scientific community should be just as validating, like, oh, this experiment can be done under completely different conditions and it's the same or whatever. Yeah. But nobody wants to be like someone else in stand-up. Like, I don't like when people are like, oh, I'm like this comedian and this comedian.
Oh, no, I don't like that.
I don't like that. I want to be something completely different because there's so many of us.
Right.
Yeah, you are. You definitely are different.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. But I do have certain comics that I admire, and like we had just said, like Sarah's comedy's smart. She's very smart comic. Yeah. And I have two very good comedy friends that are very smart comics like you. And because I'm so slow, I'm not saying this like, don't, you know what I mean? But it takes me a minute. So she'll be on to her next bit and I'll be like,
that's
bam.
something I struggle with.
And I just got that one. I'm like, oh my God, that was
ding, ding, ding. The lights go off in your fucking head.
Right.
That's what she meant.
I need to get more comfortable with silence on stage so I can let
pausing, right?
Yeah,
the
you're going to have to let those smarter ones resonate a little for the dingbats like me. Especially the drunk people, they're really like, what is she talking about? A sperm, what? You know what I mean? But I mean, and my friend Nell, shout out to Nell, an amazing comic. She's very autistic and it's like she's 4 years in. And she's really starting to like find herself on stage because like she can't even
own it.
She has to wear sunglasses. Like it's a lot with the but she's so smart and she does these one-liners and I'm seriously like, I just get it. And she's like moved on. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's a gift. And there's so many really smart comedians out there. And when people tell me, oh, do you watch? I guess like Mike Birbiglia.
I was just going to say, he's a hero of mine. His stuff is very intellectual.
Right.
Genius.
I love it.
Yes. Yeah.
I can't watch it because I'm too dumb.
No.
That's fine though.
You can learn, baby girl.
But it's not, but you know what?
Watch it on 0.5 speed.
Slow it down.
Yeah, I do. I do need to watch that.
Put some closed captions on there. Pause it if you want to watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, I mean, for me, like I said, Sarah, I'm like, you need any help dumbing your shit down? I'm your go-to. And if you want to help me get my shit a little smarter, come on,
I'd love to.
But it is great to write with people that have completely different styles.
Oh, 100%.
Because she can bring
learn
something to me and you.
Oh, absolutely.
Because me and Sherry are just two silly bitches on stage, you know?
Yeah.
But our style is so much different from you that, you know, like you could have a perspective to bring to me. Like, Cindy, did you ever think of going this way? And I'm like, oh, you know? So I love that about us comedians that, you know, our material and our styles are so different, but yet we can help each other out. And like I say, as females,
as
we
women,
gotta
we have
help
to.
each
We
other
have to
out.
lift each other up. We have to. I'm tired of this competition bullshit.
Yeah,
with
we
women.
are. But it's not.
I
You
really
know,
am, man.
But the dudes like own this. You know what I mean? It's still such a strong male dominated.
I don't know if that's going to change in our lifetime, to be honest with you. But we just gotta.
Right.
We gotta pivot.
But we got to stick together.
Yeah.
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 You know.
Sure.
And I tell you, I try to do it when I do produce, which isn't often, but when I do, I really try to do all female lineups. Which let's get into the show that you produce.
Shout it out.
So I produce two shows. One show is Disco Nap in Bushwick, which is a co-ed show. But the
I
other
love that show.
I do is called Unladylike. It's at Stand Up New York.
Hell yeah.
It's for female non-binary comics. We have an open mic. It started as an open mic every Sunday at 5, and it kept selling out every week with mic girls. So the club approached us and let us turn it into a monthly show. So now I think it's the only club show with like an explicitly non-male lineup at all.
Yeah, like this bitch
Oh,
is this
man.
kid's killing it now. Shout out who has shown up at your
Come
mic.
on.
Brag, girl.
Amy Schumer came to the mic. It was pretty sweet. That was pretty
fucking
awesome.
Schumer.
She was like, "You're so bad." No, she didn't say that.
No.
I mean, it's cool. And I feel like women, I mean, a lot of like veteran female comics who've done the show, like Judy Gold and Carol Montgomery and Vanessa
Gold.
Hollingshead and whatever, and Zarna Garg. Well, Zarna's newer at comedy, but a lot of the women who have been around forever, they'll say, you know, women used to be so competitive with each other because there was only one spot for a woman on the lineup.
Amen.
And now women can lift each other up. And I think it's so great. And,
It is.
And the
And-
feedback mic is really, it's, you know, people actually give feedback.
And is that?
So I just tell comics like the 5 minutes on stage is yours. If you want to do 30 seconds of material and
Okay.
ask the room for tag.
Perfect.
I've gotten
On
great tag
Sundays.
ideas from that. Yeah, it's every Sunday at 5, Stand Up New York.
And my goal when I came to the city this trip was to go to I was on this
I've
list.
done it. I've done it twice,
Yep.
and it's brilliant. The name alone, when I first started, I'm only 8 months into comedy, but the name Unladylike
Yeah.
comedy.
I was told
that was
by
what drew me in immediately.
3 different people. They were like,
Yeah.
you really got to show up to Unladylike comedy. Like, you got to let them see you because, you know.
Hell yeah.
That's how we book the shows.
I'm trying to,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to hit mics because, I mean, I don't want it to be like, hey, can I get a spot? Here's my tape. It's not always the same. I mean, I want to go prove myself. You know what I
Right.
mean? That I'm,
Right.
you know,
That's how I get booked on shows that have mics. So,
right.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm, hey, you know, I'm out there grinding and I'm all
Yeah.
about proving myself. You know,
Right.
I mean, I don't feel like, oh, wait, you don't know who I am. I've opened for this one. I've opened for that one. You know,
Right.
I don't, you know.
Keep yourself humble.
Right. For me, it's like, you know what? I got to go in there and I got to kill for those kiddies. You know,
Kiddos,
for those
kiddos.
kiddos.
Yeah.
But yeah. But you know, you're doing it. You are doing.
Thank you.
Doing the damn thing.
I
baby
know. I
girl.
love it. Like a
Yeah.
young girl. She's out there. She's bringing up females. They're all helping each other. Like, dude, Amy Schumer shows up at her mic.
Judy
like,
Gold
holy
is
fuck.
a legend.
Judy Gold, right?
Yeah.
Which I'm friends with
I
Judy's
love
son.
Judy. Yeah.
Like
No.
Judy Gold didn't have that
Right.
in her day when she was your age and even my age.
Just
you know?
respect, man.
Yeah.
Just respect for her. And also, I mean, I don't know Judy personally, but I can tell you she's a great mother because I love her son.
Yeah,
Really.
he's a good egg, right?
He's
He's a good egg.
I mean, I was like, she really raised a good kid. You know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
and that says a lot too about her. You know what I mean?
Of course.
I'm
Totally.
a mom. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? When I see like she raised such an amazing kid,
Right.
You know, just a hardworking, grinding, you know, I'm like, respect,
Right.
Totally.
Absolutely.
you know, because that's not easy ever.
No.
She fucking did it.
Hell.
All right, so our subject is going to be education because we have Miss Smarty Pants over here. But let's talk about your schooling when you were little.
Sure.
How it started, you know?
So New York is very competitive in terms of like what your options are. Like you can go to a local public school when you're like in preschool, whatever. You can go to private school. By the time you get to high school, you can apply to specialized public schools. So I applied to like all of these preschools. I got rejected from most of the preschools.
Like, what would they... well, I have friends who have young kids in the city. And I didn't even realize how
for sure.
competitive and insane it is to
You grew
get
up on the
your
Upper
kids.
East Side or Upper West Side?
West Side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm Jewish, West Side.
Yeah, hell
But-
yeah. Shout out.
I didn't even realize like how insane
It's
just
crazy.
getting your kid
Yeah.
into school is.
No, they
Like,
were like, she's stupid with the blocks. I don't know.
really? So they freaking
Do the Rubik's Cube at 2,
dude,
please.
Could
Right.
you imagine like they were
Yeah.
giving you a little challenge in preschool?
No, I was literally got rejected. So I ended up going to just like a neighborhood preschool.
for the
But
dummies.
we're talking about preschool, bro.
Preschool,
This is
like-
how competitive the Upper
That's
West
insane
Side
that they
is.
like she had to like go get. Oh no, she did not handle letter A properly on that block. Gone.
Right.
I
but
did
that-
interviews. Then I had to
In preschool.
interview.
They interview a little.
Yeah.
Yes.
They
They're
interview
no
you and
joke.
they interview the parents. Then
These
they
are the
interviewed
next leaders
me
of the free world. man.
for kindergarten. I switched schools and I went
Do you
to.
remember what they asked you?
They had us do coloring.
Oh,
you
okay.
do
But they
remember.
also
Okay.
like had us. I have a good memory I have a good
Yeah,
memory.
you
but
remember
they,
that.
I don't know. It was just sort of like, what do you like to do? Like, can we play? I think they just wanted to see if you were like easy to get along with and like nice. And
Oh,
whatever.
I get you.
Play
Right.
with
So you
others.
weren't some
It
little
wasn't like
brat.
I-
You weren't like throwing toys at other kids and being
No,
annoying.
No,
right?
I don't see her.
I think
doing
they had a lot of I'm absolutely terrified of being in trouble. So,
So
I
that
never
was
did
like
anything
what the
that.
whole testing thing was. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I
Make sure you
went-
can play nice with others.
Oh, you know, and I get
and
that.
smart. Yeah.
Right.
I got that.
So then I went to a school like in my neighborhood from K through 8,
Okay.
which you had to apply to get into. Then that school ended in 8th grade. So then you had to do the high school application process
Right,
in New
which is
York,
big ball,
which is a nightmare. So I didn't get into any of the specialized high schools because I didn't study. Like I didn't know I was going to apply. My parents decided last minute I should apply, and I like bombed the test. So I didn't get into any of those schools, which is like Bronx Science and Stuyvesant
Okay.
and Hunter and
Yes,
all of those like
yes.
really good public schools that if you're a New York resident, you don't have to pay for.
Right.
So then I was going
No,
to
it's for real.
apply to private schools. I applied to 9 schools. I only got into 3 and I went to 1. And for those, you have to take the ISEE, which is like the SAT for, it's called the Independent School Entrance Exam. That's like the
Mhm.
SAT
like
for
middle
8th
schoolers.
graders.
Yeah. Mhm.
Then I had to, for each school that I applied to, I had to take their own test to see if I could do work at their caliber. Then when I got into a school, I had to go to summer school in Flushing, Queens, the summer in between 8th and 9th grade to catch up because I was so behind from my neighborhood school. And then
Wow.
even still my first year of high school, I got horrible grades.
Really?
What did your parents do for a living?
My mom's a stay-at-home mom,
Mhm.
but she actually went and got her culinary degree during COVID, which I think is awesome.
Oh,
Very
hell
cool,
yeah.
yes.
Shout out your mom for fucking
Really cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Great.
What about your
Moment.
dad?
My dad worked in finance. He actually just retired.
So you so you're
okay.
not in the family business of with
Oh, you
your
branched
degree.
out.
Yeah,
You
you're
branched out.
totally
No, very much the black sheep. Everyone still doesn't understand why I don't go
Most
into
comics
finance.
are the black sheep, though. Aren't
Yeah,
they?
totally.
Sometimes.
Like my brother went into finance.
Did,
My
yeah.
sister probably everyone
Right.
in my family does.
And you're like, no.
No.
No, but so tell everybody what you did. Oh no, let's not skip
let's-
ahead. Let's
yeah.
still
Okay.
go with your high
So
school.
hold on, we're in
this
8th
is all
grade.
very
She did it. So now-
fascinating
so now we're in
like
9th
this is not
grade.
how my shit went.
No,
okay,
we'll
yeah.
talk a little bit
I mean,
about
my high
that.
school was really small. Like it was an all-girls school. It was called Nightingale. Shout out Upper East Side. I mean, we're talking the little kilts. We're talking knee highs.
Yeah.
It's where the writer of Gossip Girl went. So like that's the high school I
that's
went
the
to.
vibe.
That was the
Gossip
vibe.
Girl vibe. I love Gossip Girl.
And I didn't really I didn't drink alcohol in high school. Not that I really drink now, but like I didn't have that. I was like very nerdy. I was very focused on taking my like AP classes. Like I wanted to go to a great college.
you were focused.
I was very, very focused. I wasn't very
You had a
cool.
goal.
Also, everyone at that school had already been there since kindergarten. So coming in as a ninth
you were
grader,
coming in not with a lot of the like long-term friends.
not
and
at all.
stuff.
All the
yeah.
moms had already been friends for
Were they
8-9
mean to you?
years. Yeah.
I'll cut a bitch.
By the end,
We gonna
I
shank a
integrated
bitch.
myself.
I'm that mother.
Yeah, you are that
I'm
mom.
probably not like your mother.
No, my mother was like, just figure it out.
Right, handle it on your own.
No, it was shitty. I mean, because also the parents would go on vacation together with the kids. I wouldn't know.
Very cliquey, right? Very,
Don't
very
let me
cliquey.
even get started. We
Yeah.
will discuss that when it's my turn. Go ahead.
But there were only 32 girls in my grade. Like it was a really, really small private
Oh, that is
school.
really small.
I sort of got obsessive about the college process. I wanted to go to like a great school. I had my eyes set on Dartmouth. My coolest camp counselor when I was at camp went there, and I toured sophomore year of college,
You were
of high
inspired.
school.
Sorry, you
And
were
I thought and she took me to lunch. It was like amazing. I stayed the night. Like it was so cool. And I was like, I'm applying early here. this is so dorky. But when
No,
I
it's
toured,
awesome.
when
I
I
wanna
was
hear.
15 or 16, I took the brochure, like the little
okay.
Dartmouth College brochure.
Yeah.
And I like cut it out
Yes.
and laminated it and kept it in my backpack for the next
You were
3
manifesting
years
that shit before
until I
manifestation.
got in. And I applied early and I got in, and it was like one of the best moments of my life because it was such a, even my
Bow,
college
bow, bow,
counselor was
bow.
like, you're not going to get in. My SAT scores were not that good. Like I took so many practice SATs and ACTs. The test prep company ran out and had to like get me them from the 80s. So I could,
You weren't playing, girl.
No, they had to put me on anxiety medication. But I got in and I went and it was great.
And you got into where?
Dartmouth. So I went to Dartmouth. It was great.
I just wanted to hear you say it out loud.
I double majored in sociology with a medical concentration and history, Western history. And I minored in anthropology. And it was great. I studied abroad. I studied in London for history. I wrote a senior thesis in sociology. And I originally went to college. I wanted to be David Sedaris. Like I wanted to be a humor writer. And I don't know. I just had a lot of really discouraging conversations with people who were like, this is the world of writing now. Like, it's not like when David could just send a letter to the New Yorker in the early 90s and get published. Like, it's a lot harder now. Maybe you have to move to LA and try to be a screenwriter.
Right.
I'm a pretty practical person. I didn't want my life to be that hard.
Exactly.
And I was always very interested in reproductive health and childbirth. And that was something I was always sort of hobby-like interested in. Like, awesome. I thought doulas were really cool. And I thought midwives were really cool. And did you watch Downton Abbey?
Yeah. No, but you know
when Sybil dies in childbirth, that was like a very momentous moment for me.
It is, the crusher.
And I took this medical soci class when I was in sophomore year, and it was the first time I was like, oh, I don't need to be an OBGYN to be involved in this field.
No.
So that's when I decided maybe I could do research.
Which is where it begins, which is what changes the world, actually.
Thank you, Sharon.
That new shit.
So I talked to the professor. She was like, look, why don't you do a senior thesis with me? I love doing a thesis. She was like, you're basically just writing a mini dissertation. Why don't you go to grad school? And I was thinking about applying to PhD programs. I didn't want to be, 30 graduating and not having made any money and not having worked or anything. So I got my master's of public health at Columbia, which I applied to.
We're talking Dartmouth. We're talking Columbia.
Yeah, I know these names.
Oh, see, I knew she was going to be fucking good. I knew it.
Listen, I just want to say a disclaimer. The dumbest people I've ever met in my life were at those schools. Like you really, to get in, there are so many things. Because like there are people that get in, their parents went, or they have
connections.
They're an amazing athlete, or they play an instrument,
of course, right?
Or they get in, and maybe they could be valedictorian of their high school. That was also an issue. I was really glad that I was, very middle of the pack in my high school. Like my high school, everyone was so smart. Like everyone from my high school went to like Harvard and Yale and Princeton. It was crazy.
Wow.
But I was used to not being the smartest kid in the class. When I got to Dartmouth, they just picked the smartest kids at the class of every high school in America, right? And all those kids were like, what the fuck?
Right.
Like, I think I had easier time adjusting freshman year because I was used to not feeling like the smartest person in the room.
Okay.
So that was really helpful.
It was, yeah.
So I went straight to my master's program. That was great. I mean, it wasn't great because it was COVID and I had to do the whole thing on Zoom, basically.
Wow,
COVID hit the first week of my second semester.
Holy shit.
So I had to do basically 2 years remote.
Wow, I didn't even think about that.
And then I was job searching and I got this awesome job. I'm not supposed to say. I had to talk to my department at a hospital in New York.
Yeah.
And I work for a team of reproductive health epidemiologists and we do research studies.
Nice.
And now I do stand-up, which is sort of getting my David Sedaris fix.
Yes, exactly.
So I've sort of been able to make both of them work.
Really?
Madeleine Albright, the first female Secretary of State, once said, you can have it all, but not at once.
Ooh, you can have it all, but not at once. That's true. Yeah.
And I don't want to have kids, so I want to make sure I'm setting up my life. I'm sort of hustling right now in my 20s. So when I'm like in my mid-30s, I can maybe coast off of it.
Exactly.
So you want kids?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I could tell you're gonna be a great mom.
Big time.
You're gonna be a great
So do you want the husband or the wife and the kids? Well, I don't know what you identify, but
or maybe a they.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I have a boyfriend. I have a boyfriend. We live together.
He showed me his picture at Greenwich. He's very handsome.
How long have you been together?
Almost 3 years.
Oh, I think. Where'd you meet?
Bumble.
Nice.
It's very
serious. What does he do?
He's a sound engineer. He runs a hip hop studio in Jamaica. Shout out to Ramed Studios.
Oh, shout the fuck out, baby. That's fucking awesome.
So he gets the artist grind.
Yeah, so you've been together.
He gets the comedy grind.
So that's probably
he's great. He's a little older than I am, so he is.
How much older?
He's 5 years older. He's 31.
That's nothing.
So you wouldn't even have been in the same high school together.
No, he was also very cool in high school. He was like homecoming king and like whatever, and I was like, who is this girl? So it's nice to sort of be with someone cool.
Yeah.
It's like opposites.
We live together. Yeah. We're domestic partners with the state.
That's awesome.
I do his health insurance. That's great.
How
we have
cute.
a car.
Oh, that's so sweet.
She's a big girl.
No, she is, yeah. She's got it going on,
I don't like to waste my time.
Right.
I date to marry.
And you plan ahead.
I
it
plan
seems
ahead.
Like. You're in for the long game.
Someone once said, a dream without a plan is just a wish.
Amen.
So
baby.
you
Amen.
are Jewish.
Yeah, big time.
Okay.
She said big.
I don't believe in God.
but I mean, listen, here's the
Culturally.
thing. Here's the
Jews
thing.
are really into that.
I am telling you.
Much love and respect to the Jews. I love
I
Jews.
grew
Shout
up in
out.
an Italian,
Very funny.
in an Irish Italian neighborhood. I never, my whole life was exposed to any Jewish people.
Oh,
so
really?
my
Wow.
whole learning of the Jewish culture has been through coming to New York
Really?
and listening to stand up.
Wow.
And you know,
That's a very skewed view.
Yeah.
I hate myself.
isn't that great? But you know what I mean? Like they all do bits
No, that's
about
really
stomach
funny.
issues.
Holocaust.
You know, and
bits.
also I'm sure if you came to a very Italian show, possibly
Right,
some
I'd
of
be
that,
like, what
you'd be
is
like,
this?
what's that? Right.
Right.
So
yeah.
it's just little things about cultures, you know,
Right.
that are funny, but it's like inside.
Right.
Yeah, we all
Right.
make the world go round.
Right.
Jews
right.
are very into education. There was sort of this trope after the Holocaust where Jews were like, you can take everything away from you except your knowledge.
Except your knowledge.
And
Fucking
that's like a
brain.
very,
It's
just
true.
like, it's like a very big core value, at least among East Coast, like Ashkenazi Jews. So that's something my family always really prioritized.
So is your boyfriend Jewish?
Yes, he's Sephardic. Kinky.
Oh, okay. So
which is the
okay.
other type of Jewish.
Yeah.
That's Spanish Inquisition Jew.
A little darker.
Yeah.
This is so much to learn.
Yeah.
But okay, I know like that Jewish, you know, they like you to stay with other, and hey, don't
He's
get
the
me
only
wrong.
Jew I've ever dated.
When I
actually.
was young.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. So
I was anti-Semitic.
were your
about
parents
it.
though, you're going to marry a Jewish boy?
I always thought I would. My very serious college boyfriend was Protestant. And we always were like, oh, our kids will be half and half. They'll have a bat mitzvah. They'll be confirmed.
Right.
Like
Oh, wow,
whatever.
that's a lot of work.
Then but it was like he was super willing to meet in the middle. He always really liked Jewish people. I was willing to meet in the middle. I mean, church kind of gives me the creeps, but whatever. Jews
Kinda
aren't
cultish.
literal. You know what I mean? Like Jews would never like be like, this is the body and blood of God.
No,
like
yeah,
that's Jews
yeah.
are very
Yeah,
like,
that's us
I don't know.
Catholic folk.
Also, you don't have to have faith to be a good Jew. Like being a Jew
Right.
is much more of like an ethnic group thing.
It's cultural, it's ethnic. It's,
Right, like
it's
when you do 23andMe, it
family-oriented.
says Jewish. You
Right,
know, it's
exactly.
like, it's like
Right.
an actual
Right, yeah.
bloodline.
Right.
Then my next boyfriend was Muslim, and
Oh, wow.
he
Wow.
wanted me to convert, and
Oh,
that
hell
I
to the
had
no,
never really considered if Judaism was important to me like that because it had never been questioned. I was sort of pushed against the wall in the terms of being like, it was the first time in my life I was sort of fighting for it, and then when we broke up because of that. I mean, there were a bunch of other reasons, but that was, you know, the straw that broke the camel's back. I was like, you know what, maybe I'll date a Jewish guy. And then I went on my first date with Casey and
Hit it off.
we moved in together like 5 months later.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great.
There you go.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for me,
Sweet.
I
A good
grew up
story.
very, an Italian. And, I was to marry an Italian.
Mm.
That's all that, you know what I mean? There was no,
Right.
you're marrying an Italian. And if you don't, he ain't coming in the house. You know,
Right,
I mean,
right.
so I understand that where you, the cultural where,
Did you?
I did.
did.
I did. I sure fucking did. Like
Nice.
his ass was right off the boat and barely spoke English.
Oh my God.
But it wasn't like I was
English.
determined, you know what I mean? It
Right.
wasn't, but yeah. So
Also, there are cultural things that I feel like
They just get each
right.
other.
Like Jews, I read this article, saw TikTok about how Jews, the way that a lot of like Ashkenazi Jews communicate is like they do a lot of interrupting. And for Jewish people, that shows, and maybe just East Coast people in general, like that
Yeah,
shows
East
like I'm
Coast.
interested in what you're saying and I'm
Yep.
so excited to continue talking about that.
Yep.
And I have so many more questions.
Yeah, we're
But
definitely,
when I would do that with my like Christian boyfriend's family, they like saw that as sort of rude and they were like, well, I'm in the middle of saying something. And I was like, no, like I'm interested. I'm trying to
we're
whatever.
trying to engage this conversation to go
Right.
further.
But now
Yeah.
like my boyfriend's like mom and my mom like have this implicit like understanding. Like it's nice.
it's
Good.
wonderful.
I feel like love is hard and you should make as much of it as easy as possible.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
And I'm really glad I
that.
ended up marrying, a very, very Italian
Aren't you gay?
man. Yeah.
right.
Right.
We need to back that up a little bit.
Late life.
Okay.
Yeah.
I met him in 10th grade.
Okay.
I mean, we were
I don't think
kids.
it's a choice.
Right.
Right.
I met
be
him
gay.
when we were kids. So, yeah.
We didn't want to go to hell.
I didn't figure
so.
that shit out
Okay.
till much later.
He's
I've
your
got two
daughter's
kids.
father.
Yeah.
Baby
both
daddy.
of my girls.
Yeah.
But for me, that was, we're getting completely off the subject, but for me, it was so important that they were raised with that Italian culture that I was raised with, with the plastic on the furniture and the
Sunday
Sunday supper. You know what I mean? Everybody screaming at
Are you
each other.
Italian?
I'm Italian.
Yeah. So, you know what I mean? You know, when the food
Right.
comes out, everyone's just grabbing it. Everybody's loud.
We talk with our hands.
Yeah.
We're
And it was very important that my daughters grew up with that for me.
Yeah.
And I not like I dated him for that reason, but even like after we divorced, we would, you know, our kids would go back and forth. We remained friends, of course, because our children came first, which
Absolutely.
we were both very, very good parents. Like our kids
Co-parents.
always came
Good
first.
co-parents. Yeah.
But like on the holidays, the big holidays, you know, because my other family was German and a lot of my Italian side had already passed. So it wasn't so traditional, the holidays. So I always made sure that they were with their dad
To
on
get that
Christmas.
tradition.
That's nice.
Because I wanted them to do the 7 fishes. I
we
wanted
do
them to
that.
have
We
the
do that.
whole,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Even if it took time away from me not being with them, I wanted them
We wanted the tradition to keep going.
with them
Right.
in that tradition, with
When I was
their
like
nana.
older,
Right.
that's become more important to me. I think
Yeah.
when you're a teenager, you can be like, yeah, fuck that. But
Right.
like when
But
you're,
as you get older, those traditions matter.
Yeah.
I feel like.
They do.
You know?
And my kids are very, you know, and that's how they were raised. But yeah, so we'll get back to like school. So now we see how the youngsters rolled. Because
Yeah.
none of this shit happened when I was a kid.
No. I feel
You want to start.
No, so I grew up in Delaware. I've lived in New York for 20 years, but I grew up in Delaware, Italian Catholic. Went to Catholic school. And then I went to an all-girls Catholic high school, St. Anthony of Padua.
shout out.
Yeah, shout out St. Anthony of the Padua girls. And I used to wear my little skirts, you know, and I used to wear boxers underneath so I could roll up my skirt really, really high, you know, so you could see
I'd
my
wear
nice
spandex under
nice
mine.
legs,
Yeah.
exactly, and the Eastland shoes and everything. And then I came out in '96. I was a freshman when I came out, and I cut
In high school?
Yeah,
with all the
yeah.
girls.
Right. They're like, we're going to make you straight, send you to an all-girls Catholic school. Well, you know what, honey?
Yeah.
You backfired.
Sometimes shit don't
sweetheart.
work
We
in your favor.
backfired.
That's okay.
No, but then
I feel
Yeah,
like
I
there
got
was
kicked
no
out.
question you were a lesbian in
No, I was
19
definitely born this way.
in
bro.
freshman year.
I've definitely slopped on some knobs. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've had sex with
Yeah.
men. I'm not a gold star by
Yeah.
any means.
I mean, my youngest daughter is gay, and I'll tell you, she came
made
out of me
one.
wearing cargo shorts, holding a Tonka truck like there was no
right,
secret.
Right.
Right? She's gold star. Like, I mean, no.
She's got the
I mean,
keys on the
I may not
carabiner.
be the best lesbian, but God damn it, I raised one.
Right, exactly. There you go. No, but I got kicked out of high school in 11th grade for being gay, actually.
They literally,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that was on paper.
Yeah, well,
Oh, that's no
on
joke.
paper, it was behavior defiance disorder.
Oh, yeah.
I love how they give
Because-
names to this sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
it was behavior defiance disorder. And
Was the behavior being straight?
behavior was making out with all the girls.
But
and
I
getting in
also have a
trouble.
feeling there really was some behavior defiance disorder.
No, yeah, I was definitely a dickhead for
You know,
sure. I
our
was a
stories are
troublemaker.
so fucking similar. Keep going.
Yeah, I was a class
Were your
clown.
parents
Yep.
strict?
No, not really. They're kind of white trash. Working class white trash, though. Not like meth head white
Okay.
trash. You know what I mean? Yeah, my dad was a mechanic. He likes to say engineer, but he was a mechanic. And my mom was a secretary. So my grandfather, on my mom's side, the Italian side, he paid for the schooling and everything.
So what happened after you got kicked out?
I got my GED, actually, right the same year I was supposed to graduate. I got my GED. And then started working full-time at Pep Boys Automotive.
None of this is shocking.
You know, right, as a cashier. And then
Oh, you were okay. I
cashier. I don't know how
thought
to
you
do
were
it.
back there
No,
pulling the
no.
fucking
Should be like
parts.
more lesbian about it.
Yeah, I know.
right, no,
Damn.
no.
Own that shit, Dyke.
No. I'm the worst. Like, I love Chick-fil-A and
For
can't
you.
put furniture together.
I'm the
at all.
man one, but my girl does everything.
Yeah,
I'm the shitty man one. I
yeah.
call it the lazy man
Right,
one. I'm
right,
a lazy
right.
bottom.
Right.
Lazy top.
All
I
straight
guess.
girls have that
Lazy
too.
top.
Yeah, lazy top, but yeah.
My wife tops from the bottom, but I am a top.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you worked for a sperm bank. I know we're pivoting and switching. Or not a sperm bank, I'm sorry.
I mean, I collaborate with
You
the sperm
collaborate,
bank.
exactly. I was going to say, my wife and I, we tried to get pregnant. And it was the first time I felt like, because I've never been on dating apps before. I've always met women like in person because I'm fucking 40. So I always miss that, you know.
Mhm.
But, you know, I felt like it was the first time I was on a dating app.
Right, looking at the profiles.
Yeah. And we get the sperm and it comes in.
Do they have the adult photos of the guys, or do they have the photos of them as a baby?
They have them as a baby.
I
And
think
then
that's
one,
so weird.
And then one as an adult.
Right.
One as an
I
adult.
think it's weird they do the baby because if you were a heterosexual woman, you would choose your mate based off of what he looks like
right, exactly.
now.
That's what because she was going to
Right.
be the one
I think that's
carrying,
so
and I was
weird.
going to be the one like, you know, just putting it in her.
Oh, you were going to go the turkey baster way on your own?
We did it. Yeah, we did it. We tried. We tried 3 times that way. And then we tried.
So, did you have to pay for the sperm?
Yeah. It came in
you
like
paid
this.
for her. Like, did they extract her eggs and do an insemination?
We didn't do that way.
No, she tried the other way first. Yeah. With a long little tube or something. Yeah, I saw it on TV, but I don't know nothing.
It didn't work out for us.
No.
It's sad, but you know what? We travel and we have a good time. But I just think it's funny that
wait, are you done giving up?
I mean, I'm 40 and she's going to be 42, so we might adopt. Be those type of lesbians that adopt.
Yeah,
stereotypical.
I feel like maybe adopting a child that's a little bit older.
Yeah, even an older child.
Yeah.
Potty trained, right? So I don't know how to fucking.
It's
deal
like
with
a puppy. Get one like a puppy.
Yeah,
it's already potty trained.
But yeah. So.
Yeah, but you know what? Honestly, God does work in mysterious ways, and I'm not even religious, but it was meant to be. Your careers right now are fucking blowing up.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You know what I mean? And you both have big things coming for you. And maybe this was just the plan.
Maybe it was.
Because if you had a child, this would not. I mean, I'm telling you, that shit changes your life.
Oh, no, it takes over your whole
You would have babies.
That's what she was saying. When you're in your 30s, you can just ride it out.
Yeah.
Right now, you're just grinding and grinding and grinding, right?
I know I physically and mentally won't be able to do this.
Exactly. Right. But once you hit that age, you're already...
Then you're on break until they get grown again, you know?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, like me, my kids are moved out and grown, so... I'm finally doing something for myself, but my whole life was taking care of everybody else.
Let's talk about your education.
So my education
was dyslexic,
a
little bit retarded, but we don't say that word anymore.
Well, we don't say that word, but I mean, I was definitely, they gave me one of those IQ tests when I was a little kid. This is a joke. I haven't told it.
Is it real or is it a joke?
No, it's true.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say this if it wasn't true. So anyway, when I was a little kid, probably maybe 6 or 7, not even, they gave me one of them IQ tests back then that they had. And the piece of paper came back and I distinctly remember in big letters, it said slightly retarded, like they stamped it on there.
Oh my God.
That was the word that they used.
Bro?
I mean, we're talking 19.
Was it red? Was it a red stamp?
68. You know what I mean?
Even kids who are put in like slow classes or whatever, like that stuff sticks with you.
People hell yeah.
People don't want.
But that was the word that they used, you know what I mean? My kids all went to special education, and that I think was what there was a name for that. I don't know what the name was, but I'm sure that, anyway, that's true story.
Sorry that happened.
That was my diagnosis. I was slightly retarded, and I know it's not politically correct to say the R word anymore.
But that's what it was back
But at my age, you can consider me grandtarded in.
Okay. That's funny.
So I do that bit sometimes. I don't know if I'd work here. The minute I say retarded, people's asses clench. But you know what?
Yeah, their buttholes.
It's a story about me, right? So why can't I own and claim what was...
Maybe you can open the joke with that. Like, this might make you uncomfortable, and then establish that you're allowed to say it because it was something that happened to you. And
grandtarded is good.
No, that's funny.
That's funny.
So anyway, I did that. And for me, my went to Catholic school. My father, that was the first form of child abuse I experienced, was growing up in an Irish Catholic neighborhood, being an Italian whose father owned a porn business in the 60s and 70s, right?
Hell yeah.
And they sent me to a Catholic Irish school. They did not like Italians. And the fact that my father's business and was on the front page of the paper was not a big deal.
Right.
I mean, was a huge deal. So what they decided to do was extort my father for an extra $100 a month to let us stay.
Right, because of his reputation. It was a reputation.
Right. They were like,
he made porns, or he sold them, or what?
My father owned strip clubs, started them, and he owned adult bookstores.
Okay.
So yeah, the first in the 70s. Yeah,
exactly. He's a pioneer.
Yeah. But so he sent us to this Catholic school. I don't know why, but anyway, I went through the whole school, and at my age, there was no diagnosis for attention deficit, none of that. There was no medication. Nobody knew what it was. So I was just labeled like slow and dumb and lazy, pretty much lazy, was what everything, like she's lazy.
Right. And when you give kids those labels, they become self-fulfilling prophecies.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't even read until maybe 12 years old. And I went to I still couldn't barely read then.
Wow.
I'm so dyslexic.
You read now.
Yeah. No,
I like audio. I like audiobooks.
I listen to audiobooks. That's why writing comedy is very hard. Like my handwriting and my spelling is horrific. Like
you don't have to write it down.
I speak it
speak it in. Yeah.
So, but I struggle. I struggle with memory. All of this from, And I've got some very bad attention deficit.
But like you said, self-prophecy, like it's a what'd you say,
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Harry
So
Potter
we
type
weren't
shit.
raised with therapy.
Yeah.
We didn't
You're
have
in
none
it,
of that.
you know?
You know what I mean? We didn't
Yeah.
have special classes to
Right.
help us. We were just dumb. So because I couldn't do math because I was so dyslexic, I couldn't do math at all. When I was in high school, they were
Yeah.
like, nah, no math for you. So I never took math class.
Oh,
I
damn.
can't even divide.
Is that
Yeah.
legal?
Probably well, back then, yeah, it was
They
in the
probably didn't
70s.
give a
They didn't
shit.
give a fuck.
Yeah.
I went to a school that we smoked in the fucking classrooms.
Wow.
Like, yeah. When we wanted to smoke weed, that
Where
was in the
was
hall.
this?
It was called East High School. It was in the city of Rochester, and nobody there gave zero fucks. Okay, it was
Right,
like a
right,
fucking
right.
free for all. But I did go to a all girls Catholic school for 9th grade.
So we all went to an all
Right.
girls.
All girls.
But I got
that's
kicked out.
weird.
I
Well,
got
yeah.
kicked out.
You two turned out gay.
Yeah.
I got kicked
I
out
did.
too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, we got two
Yeah.
dropouts.
You wanna know why they said
and
I was-
one fucking genius.
They
What
said
the
I was-
spectrum?
I was kicked out of Rush at Dartmouth. I
Oh
don't know if
my
that counts.
gosh.
Wow, really? Hold on, we
being-
gotta
for
get
being
into that.
Probably didn't
disrespectful.
drink enough. Oh.
Wait, what'd you get kicked out for?
They thought I was being bitchy.
Oh, you're being
Jeez, I thought maybe they were
guilty. Guilty. Sorry.
thought maybe they're trying to make you drink, like a whole bottle
That
of
is
vodka.
a big thing.
Yeah.
And you were
It's
like,
kind of
fuck
like,
that,
can
ain't
you
me,
hang
boo.
or do coke or
Yeah, right.
take shots? And I'm
Yeah.
just like,
And
it's
you
not
said
really-
that you weren't like that. You
No,
were
I've
very-
never been like
and
that.
you
I get
didn't
high off
conform.
of socializing. Like I like that.
Yeah, but you not conforming probably made them feel
No,
lower
I really
about
feel
themselves,
comfortable
right?
feeling sheepily.
Exactly. That's awesome.
You know, sheeple.
Yeah.
I don't hate that. I even at a concert where people are like, okay, everybody put your hands together and clap along. Like that makes me
You're
very
like, I'm
uncomfortable.
not a fucking sheep.
No, I don't like
Yeah.
that feeling at all.
That's awesome.
So they kicked me out and they said I was, I don't know what I did wrong exactly. So I might remember my mother had to go get a refund, right? Because they had already put a down payment down, because it was expensive.
Right.
And she went in, I guess, to get the refund. And she always wrote the check under her name. My parents were divorced, right? My father would give it whatever. And they returned the check under my father's name. And my mother looked at that check and she said, how the fuck do you know who he is? And that's when she realized they kicked me out because of who he was. That,
So passive aggressive of them.
it's Catholic
That is.
school. Please don't get me started. Back when I was going, it was,
The body and the blood of Christ,
Yeah, it
like
was-
you said earlier.
Yeah, I mean, it,
Very literal.
yeah, it was insane. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But then ended up going to like the public school with all my friends. It was a free for all. I never showed up. I graduated. College for me was not really an option. A, I wasn't smart enough. B, I came from a family that's like, you don't go to college, you go to work. You know what I mean? Like that,
Vocational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you go to fucking work, bitch.
Right,
Okay.
right,
Like
yeah.
college, what? And my father would always make those comments. Well, we can fucking send her to college. Maybe she'll meet a doctor. That was like the only reason, but
Get
it
her a
wasn't.
fucking husband to pay for her
Yeah.
shit.
So nobody in my family ever went to college,
Right.
ever.
Well, that's such a privilege I
But
had.
my daughter is the first person out of my entire family to ever graduate
Oh, wow.
Shout out your
from
congratulations.
college,
That's
even though
awesome.
it took her 6 years to get her 4-year degree because she's also struggles with, she's dyslexic. And I'm sorry, she has ADD. But she did it. She fucking stuck it out, man. And we put her on the meds.
Right.
Towards the end of her, like, was that Adderall or something?
Yeah.
It's that Adderall, baby.
Yeah, so
Ritalin,
she took
Adderall.
that her last year.
Of college.
Yeah, and then she went from like all like,
Zippity doo da day.
and then I felt really bad because I like took her off of it when she was in middle school because,
She could have gone to Harvard.
but it made me nervous. It made me nervous because there was this lot of side effects. And we were all at dinner one night and she was just randomly, this little 12-year-old looked up and was like, she goes, I wish I was dead.
Mm.
My
I'm like,
God.
And they said the
Meow,
side
meow.
More
effect
depression.
was like just, and I'm like, I'm not,
Suicidal.
yeah. She can struggle like I did. I don't fucking know about this medication yet,
That's
you
right.
know.
It's a little
But
sad.
then she did go on the Adderall later, and she will tell you some stories when she does. But anyway, so there was no college for me, and my biggest mistake was probably not going into comedy when I was younger. I just
Same.
started
I
4
feel like
years
that
ago.
too. Yeah.
Everybody. I was voted the class clown. I was
Same.
voted the
Yeah.
most outgoing.
Yeah. Social.
I was very entertaining in school. I was the
Right.
life of the party.
Right.
And I just was a huge comedy fan. My family, they're all so funny. Like we take trauma and we just laugh. Like that's how we, if someone when the matriarch passes, one of the grandparents, like no one's crying at the funeral. We're joking and laughing, and that's just our way of getting through. And I do believe, but there's a lot of people, they're ball buster Italians. You know what I mean? Very loud.
Right. Yeah.
But so that was my education story. So there was no opportunities. And I always told my kids, I wanted them to go to college, and that was always important. But my youngest just isn't for her. She struggled a lot. And I thought, she went for a year, not even. She ended up just getting student loans. She didn't enjoy it. There was nothing she was interested in. So I'm like, don't bother.
What's she up to now?
She runs her father's restaurant.
That's
very
awesome.
nice. Yeah. So
her.
she's killing
She's
it.
doing the damn thing.
Oh,
In
she's
Rochester.
doing amazing. Yeah.
What kind of food?
High end Italian.
Nice.
So yeah.
Italiano.
And my other daughter's in Brooklyn bartending, but she's got her degree. She could get a job in marketing, but she's just moved here to.
She's doing her thing right now.
Yeah, she don't care.
That's her 20s.
She don't care. You know what I mean? Yeah. But so that's my story, and it's crazy how different. And none of my friends went to college.
No, I
that
got my degree
with.
when I was 37.
Yeah, and she went back.
Oh, wow.
I got my associates, and then I got my bachelor's degree when I was.
What'd you
37.
study?
Business management.
Nice.
So yeah, my job paid for it actually.
Oh, that's
I have
so cool.
student loans. St. Joseph's College over there in Brooklyn. But yeah,
I mean, look, I came from a very privileged, systematically privileged situation. Like both my grandfathers went to college. Both my parents went to college. My father has a master's degree. Like that was always a priority.
Right.
They were able to send us to private school that had college counselors that could read my Common App and help me with that.
Yeah.
They paid for me to have an SAT tutor. Like, that's all.
Well, it all paid off. Look how smart you are.
That's crazy. And that's like, and I think about like my daughter, the one who did go to college and ended up graduating. I remember her counselor calling me more than once and saying, college probably just isn't for her. She's just not ever going to be smart enough.
Fuck
That's
you,
so
buddy.
mean.
Who are you to tell me what
Can you
my
believe
daughter
that?
can do?
It's not good.
About my 29-year-old kid. And I'm like, but she really wants to go to college. She's like, I just don't think it's a good idea. I mean, I just don't.
Right.
That's fucked up.
No, that's not good.
So yeah, my kid fucking did it though, man.
Good for her.
It wasn't easy. She wasn't, and please, and trust me, she did not suffer. She was out there drinking, having a good time, but she pulled it fucking through, and like that's like was my proudest moment.
Absolutely.
Was having, and she didn't want to walk down the aisle. I remember.
Oh no,
she's like, I'm not walking down the. I said, you're what? Because she had, all her friends had walked before her because she took her so long.
Right.
I'm like, you were walking down the aisle. And you were walking down that aisle so fucking slow. Don't even speed it up. You're going to go slow so mommy can see every minute. We were like those crazy parents that were screaming like lunatics when they called my kid's name.
Of course.
And the people were all like, yeah, there go that white trash, that kid.
Right. Bow, bow, bow.
Yeah, there goes someone who's kid never. And we're just like.
That's good though.
So we forced her to walk. Yeah. I'm like, and you're going to walk slow.
No, you deserve it.
Yeah,
for sure.
But yeah, so I mean, it's crazy the difference,
I love that our three different stories, how different all three of our educational backgrounds are.
Yeah. And maybe next time we do education, me and Sherry will share some of our bad stories.
Oh yeah,
I really and truly believe intellect is distributed throughout the world.
It is.
And it's just people who luck out with their zip code.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely!
too.
You get lucky too where you're born.
Yeah.
Who it's all a crapshoot.
Yeah, it is.
And I still feel like ridiculous things upset me because it's just like when I see these kids that can't even go outside and ride their bikes because in my city because they're dodging bullets all fucking day.
Yeah.
And these little kids can't even go out and ride their bicycles down the street because they might get
in
shot.
Rochester.
Yeah. And then I think about privilege.
Right.
That my kids had that they got to go outside and just ride their bike.
Of course.
Like that's a fucking privilege.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's all where you were born and your birthright.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's like that it still like fucking freaks me out.
Yeah.
And I tell and that's one thing I instilled in my children growing up. Because for me, street smarts were always more important than academic because we were born with street smarts.
Traveling all over the world. I've been all over the world reading books. That has taught me more than most education.
Yeah.
Just traveling and reading.
For me, we're being on the streets. being on the streets as a kid. Like,
Well,
you know,
I was
grew up.
gutter trash for a little while. Too.
I grew up on the streets.
Yeah.
I knew the deal. I knew when not to go. I have friends who were dead, and I turned around
Same.
and went the other way. If I would have took 2 more steps, I'd be dead too.
Yeah,
so
same.
it's all about knowing when to get out and always be a leader at that age.
Yeah.
Never be a
Alert.
follower.
Alert.
And I, beat that into my kids' heads. So, I mean, that also, I really wanted them to know that, street smarts is important too.
They are.
But now I'm at the age, and now I'm like, damn.
You seem like you have street smarts
Yep.
because you grew up in New York City.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I was really scared.
But you still knew what was popping.
I still knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And I found that even when I got to college, a lot of my friends who'd grown up super suburban, or even talking to my boyfriend who grew up in the very, very wonder bread suburbs.
Right.
Like, I feel like I even having not a crazy majority white high school or
Right.
middle school, learning how to ride the subway, basically just learning to try and be a little.
You're still an urban kid.
Right. Nobody needed to drive me. I mean, we didn't have a car. I don't know how to drive.
Yeah, you taking subways, cabs, you know how to hail a
Can I go to the
cab.
bathroom really quick? Is that allowed? Can I pee really quick?
We could wrap it up.
Oh, yeah, we're going to wrap it up.
Oh, okay, great. Then
Yeah.
let's just do
Let's
that.
wrap it
Yeah, so
I had that. Sherry got me a great bottle of water. I think I overdid it.
Got you.
well, anyway, Sarah, thank you very much.
Thank you
and
guys
your
so
story was
much.
great.
Shout out your socials one more
Yeah,
time.
one more.
I'm Sarah Adelman 1 on Instagram, and I run Disco Nap Comedy in Bushwick once a month, and Unladylike Comedy at Stand Up New York on the Upper West Side once a month.
I am so happy that I did a show with her and I got to meet her and have her on this podcast.
I love you
Absolutely.
guys.
I had a great fucking time. This was amazing.
You can
getting to
adopt
know
me,
you.
Sherry. I can be your adult child.
I definitely would adopt you, but you're really hot and that would be probably inappropriate.
I was just gonna say you can't want to adopt me and be hitting on me.
right. I think I can't help but hit on you, sweetheart. I can't go through a whole episode without hitting on a hot guest. I don't think I can.
911?
Not yet.
Hello.
Not yet.
Oh, man, also followed us at Degenerate Boomer,
Yes.
Instagram, Facebook.
We're going to be on YouTube soon, too, right?
Yeah, I'm setting that all up,
Yeah.
But hey, everybody, thank you very much. Sarah, thank you again.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Yes. Good
Yeah.
night. Hell yeah.